Let's, we're a little late, let's get started.
Okay.
Apologize for running over.
Let's do pledge allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's have a roll call of members, please, Carla.
Michael Hankins,
Here.
Gary Shield,
Here.
Robert Mueller,
Here.
Kathleen Walsh,
Here.
Jim Ferguson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
First time we've had all the members here. Second time we've had all the members here this year.
Wow.
That's great.
March.
That's really good. I know it's hard for you to come and do two meetings, and which the three of us have just done. It takes a lot of your time, but I appreciate it very much. Has everyone seen the agenda? Do I have a motion, entertain a motion for approval of the agenda?
Sorry.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Bob. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None appearing. Have you all had a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting? I know it came out through the internet, but if you haven't, we'll take a minute. Otherwise, does anyone have any corrections for the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve if there aren't any changes or corrections.
A motion by Kathy, second by Gary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None appearing. Financial report. We had one last month, and it hasn't changed a whole lot. We've spent some money. We had $13,000 at that time, $13,358, but we did make a motion to approve the Lamar sign, and we also asked Sue, I did, if she would negotiate with them. They wouldn't negotiate. In other words, they sent us a bill that said we could pay it monthly, and I said, let's see if we pay it quarterly or half, if they'll cut it down, and they didn't want to negotiate. So I said to Sue, it's up to you how you want to pay it, and she said, let's just send them their money and be done with it, and I said, that's fine. It's $3,601, and that's what we agreed to with the proposal that we had from them. Also, at that time, we approved the banner for the garden walk, and they sent me a contract, which I signed and passed it along to the proper parties, and I think that Sandra's got some funds that she's going to help them out with, so they wrote a check, and it doesn't come out of ours, and this is the way we have to do it. Lamar is a nationwide company, and the contract is in the name of St. Genevieve and the Tourism Tax Commission, so it always comes to me. I don't even keep a copy, but I give the copies out to the appropriate people, and then the city has a copy, and in Sandra's case, she does. And then they pay the bill, so it doesn't come out of our funds. And that's already been taken care of. In fact, I think she wrote that Friday.
Which would be today.
Oh, that would be today. Yeah, I was
She
thinking it was
will be.
like-
If she hasn't
Yeah,
yet, she will be.
Yeah, it would be today. Everybody understands, we've told them all the rules. It's $250, they put it up and they take it down, and where they put it. And we really don't care, I mean, they're not going to say something that wouldn't be inappropriate, because it's got to go through her too. So that hasn't come out of here yet.
That won't come out of
And it won't show up on ours, at any rate. The only thing that we have coming out yet is we always, as a tax commission, we've always paid some money toward the Belleville News-Democrat. We do it in the spring and the fall. And that's in order to get people to advertise along with us, individuals. And so that's about a $200, I can't remember what it was.
think it's closer to 300.
300, yeah, 275 or something like that, yeah. So we haven't made a motion for it that I can remember.
We don't have to until probably a later meeting, and then I can get you an exact dollar amount if
Okay,
you want.
all right. So those are the only expenses we have right now that I could think of.
Well, we have some things that we've committed to,
Well, the 7,500.
right? Which is still part of your
7551 or something, whatever it is, and when we know about that, and we already voted on that one. So when you take that out of our remaining 10,000, that leaves us with roughly $3,000 in our account, and then a little more or less, because this doesn't show our first quarter, because it's not due until April the 1st. I'm sorry, April the 30th.
Yeah, Sue had given me some numbers through February. I think we collected 8529.
Sounds about right. And that's, some people do not pay until they pay for the quarter. They don't pay monthly. So we're not broke, but we don't have the kind of money that we had to start with. And I did some calculating here while we were talking in our previous meeting, and with the 7551 that we've given the Tourism Center, the 15,875 for the TV, the, say, 250 for the fall and for the spring for Belleville News Democrat, which is 500, and for the 10,000 more or less for the signs, we've spent somewhere around $37,500. Taking in,
We'll spend.
we'll spend.
This year.
Taking in 22,000 more or less is a little rough to spend 37,000. So we're going to have to be careful we don't get ourselves in a jam here. But that's our financial report given by Jim, our treasurer.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to accept? Well, you know, it's about as accurate as we can get because the money comes in and goes out in such different ways. Did everybody does understand what we're talking about?
Do you have what our current balance is?
Susan usually keeps
She
track
keeps it,
of
yeah.
all of that.
Right
And all
now-
the money now goes through her, but one time we kept the checkbook.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because we're not just relying on this year's funds to pay for some of these things, because we had some revenue that was left over from last year. It's kind of taking a look at everything that we have.
And that's why we spent 37,000.
Right, right.
Because we hadn't spent,
Is that going to take us to zero?
no. What, the only.
Assuming no,
Yeah.
no work, no money comes in this year. It's more of a cash flow issue.
Yeah. The only thing we have left to pay for is her $7,551. And the.
And the 500 for the Belleville.
And
And
we
the-
collected.
Basically 300 for Belleville.
8,500 already this year, so that would cover
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we've covered the signs. We spent the money for the 2 signs.
And we prepaid all the television.
We paid all our television. So, and actually, we sent them the check for the $3,600, and only half of that came out of this year's budget. That other $1,800 should have come out of the other one, but we just went ahead and paid it, so that's off at the table. So, the only thing we have left, the rest of this year, all the way to January, is her $7,500, about $500 for Belleville News Democrat, and that's it. So we're talking $8,000 for the rest of the year. Yet we have revenue coming in for that whole, all the way up to January that we haven't obligated anything to.
We'll need to have some,
Am I-
we project revenues
Yeah.
based on.
Our projected revenue for the year, let's say for this whole year, would be probably about 20,000.
I mean, if you look at it, it's usually
You
around,
don't always spend based on current revenues.
Right.
In this case, you had some cash carrying over.
Right.
And revenues today.
Right.
But based on our anticipated revenue,
Mhm.
where does your anticipated spending stand?
All right, we're covered.
Covered.
We're covered on all of it, probably with about $20,000 left over.
Yeah.
That we haven't done anything with. But we haven't proposed the budget to start in October yet.
No, but that.
Yeah. But that will.
The year, we'll
yeah.
figure out how much you got,
Yeah.
how much you expect to get, and
Right.
budget that in.
I
Right.
guess we have a fiscal liability that we can't spend money we don't have. So
Yeah.
that's why I think when we look at these reports, we should know
26.
what is in
You're-
the
Okay,
After the.
that's about right.
We're good, but I think we should always know.
You're right, you're the stewards of tax revenue.
And you still
Right here, we
have
got,
I don't think you get to borrow.
first quarter.
that's what we
No.
have right now.
Yeah, we haven't gotten all
Yeah.
the required yet.
8,000
Well,
Of course,
does
nobody's
that-
paid for
that
March yet.
number include revenues collected to date in this fiscal year?
Well, so far they're showing what,
$54.05 as of March 7th.
so, yeah,
Okay.
January, February is posted.
So that's the number what we have
That's what we have.
currently
On hand,
on.
right?
Right now.
Okay, which
We
is,
have 10,000, that's what he said, we have
Okay.
10,000.
Yeah, currently we have 10,000, and of that, we're going to spend about 8.
1,000.
So
Okay.
we figure about 2,600 will be unspent.
Plus whatever we collect for the remainder of the fiscal
Yeah,
year.
right.
Or,
Okay, so I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
second.
Moved by Kathy, seconded by Bob. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None appearing. I did another sheet here. We don't have anything under old business that I remember. Under new business, the only thing we have is the state sign on I-55. For those of you that were not at the previous meeting, Sandra gave us a breakdown on that, and I'm going to ask her to repeat it for this meeting, if you
Sure.
didn't mind.
Sure. So at the last meeting, we talked about what it would take for St. Genevieve's Welcome Center to be considered an affiliate Welcome Center by the state. And the program to become an affiliate Welcome Center is managed by the Division of Tourism, but the thing that gets you on the map, so to speak, in more ways than one, is purchase of signage through the Missouri Department of Transportation. And so when I asked these questions of tourism, they immediately referred me over to MoDOT, because MoDOT manages the sign program. And the sign program breaks down like this. They have the availability for tourism centers, or for welcome centers, to purchase a large sign on the interstate that would say, you know, to the effect of St. Genevieve Welcome Center, next exit. And those are the, 4-foot by 8-foot signs. And then
It was 10.
those
I
cost,
thought it was 10 by 7, I'm sorry.
it could be.
Okay.
Yeah. Those cost $4,000 each, so you would have a southbound I-55 sign that would be $4,000, and a northbound. You can't get one without the other, I already asked. Not like so that's $8,000 for the large signs, and then they have smaller signs that are called Trailblazers that are $1,200 a piece. And typically, you would get 2 Trailblazers. So if you do the full sign program, it would be $8,000 for the 2 large signs, $2,400 for the 2 small signs, for a total of $10,400. Those are good for 10 years. There's no recurring cost until you get to the end of the 10-year period. And if there's any damage on the sign, they take care of it. So if the sign is blown down by wind or anything like that, it's replaced at no cost to the entity that purchased it in the first place. And once you purchase those signs on the interstate, then you become considered an affiliate Welcome Center, and we would be listed that way in the official Missouri travel guide, as well as online on the internet, And obviously, people driving down the interstate would see us as such.
Open for discussion.
Well, I think you can see one of these, it's either at Pacific, I've seen them coming. Eureka. Or Eureka, you're right, that's where it's at. I think it does say affiliate too, on it, doesn't it?
I just know that it says it's closed on Saturday and Sunday.
What Sandra did mention is there's probably 3 or 4 other criteria that you have to meet, and we meet all of those currently, so it's just, to be an affiliate, you have to have the signage. One of the things we talked about in the previous meeting is trying to look to see if there is some other kinds of funding that we could join with funding from the Tourism Tax Commission, such as the Economic Development Fund or the St. John County Community Foundation, to try to put the funds together in a package to put this up. And I guess we've signed the resource committee that we had to talk to various entities and try to come up with a recommendation. One of those might be to come to the Tourism Tax Commission for partial funding or whatever.
I do have a question.
Wait, let's, don't talk too much. He just had 5 teeth pulled,
Ooh.
so,
Oh, yesterday.
okay.
Wow.
He's tough.
We're glad you're here with us today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm used to pain. I'm married.
Oh, man.
Pain management.
Very married.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Gary. Go ahead, ask a question.
It's like when I posted a picture of my wife and I in costume on Facebook, and one of her friends says, "Bob, you're dead meat." She showed us the window before it got put up.
In my mind, traveling down the highway, I'm not going to drive 6 miles to go to Welcome Center. Because in my mind, Welcome Center should be like right on the highway, but I don't know, that's just in my mind. Like the one in Eureka, I mean, you have to get off at Eureka exit and then go down 4 blocks, go up a block and a half and come back 4 blocks. I mean, it's an entrance into the 66 part, Highway 66 part. But I mean, that's just in my mind. And I was just curious, would that bring people to us?
I think we could look at some of what the other ones that are listed in there and kind of get an idea of, how far off the interstate they are. I can't remember if New Madrid was on that list or not, but, New Madrid's off the interstate at least 3 miles.
Hayti is the one
I think that's a state, that's a state.
The official ones are the ones that are kind of like drive-throughs, almost like a rest stop.
Right.
Yes.
So we would just be affiliated.
Is Kimmswick an affiliate? I mean, they're on this list, right? Or is it-
I'm sorry, that list is where we're mailing brochures to.
Oh, so it
I
has
don't
nothing,
thi-
oh,
That's
that's,
not the official one.
No.
oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right.
That's for brochure
I think one
distribution.
of the stars on it had, I'm not sure.
Okay. Because I don't remember seeing even a sign with Crystal City Festus. And,
Yeah,
so,
I don't know where that one is either.
We just know brochures.
Yeah,
Those are just welcome, it would be a CVB.
That was from the previous meeting, we were talking about brochure distribution.
that's probably where the license office is at in Festus.
Okay, so here are, thank you,
Yeah,
Carla.
that could be.
And this is something that we had at previous meetings, but Carla had one out there. So the affiliate welcome centers in Southeast, the only one right now is at West Plains, Porter Wagner Boulevard, so wherever that is.
It's probably right off of.
Right off of
Highway
60.
60.
Yeah.
Eureka that you just mentioned, St. Robert in,
It's up on the way.
Up by Fort Leonard Wood.
Yeah.
and then Laclede, which is at the General John Pershing Boyhood State Home. Platte County, which is just listed as the Platte County Welcome Center. And then Pineville at City Hall, so I don't know how far that is off the interstate. And Springfield on East St. Louis Street. So
That's a trip to get to that.
that's in downtown Springfield, isn't it?
Well, let me ask you a question.
East St. Louis
How-
is-
How can a Eureka stay as an affiliate when they're closed on the weekends when they said you had to be open 7 days a week?
No one's checking up on it.
Nobody's checking up on it.
I mean, right underneath it, and the state furnished the plaque with the same.
Yeah, I don't think they would allow us to go out there and staple something to their sign.
But no, it's a state furnished sign.
Yeah, and.
It was yeah, that does seem
But
a
I think
little
it's a
bit.
state park. That might be the difference.
Oh.
Because it is a state, the Highway 66 is a state park.
Route 66 thing, yeah.
It is a state park, so that might be the difference.
I just want to comment. I think it would be really cool to have these signs. I think it would potentially help quite a bit. But on the other hand, I agree with what Gary said. If it says 6 miles, that's a substantial detour for the people who are looking just for one of those drive-through rest area almost kinds of things to pick up a brochure and keep on going. So I see both sides of that. I'm not convinced one way or another.
And to get that, what do you call it, the $1,200 sign?
Trailblazer.
Trailblazer, if you had the sign saying, associate, or even if it doesn't say that, Welcome Center, they don't know that it's an associate, and they don't know what associate means even if it
Right.
says that, but it says Welcome Center, and then as you get off the highway there, it's gonna point and say, and what really bothers me is if you say 2 miles, because that's where our city limit is, but the Welcome Center is 6 miles from there.
Right.
Okay, so if you bought 2 of those, that's another 2,400. About halfway in, when you get down to where we have our city limits, you'd have to buy another one that says 3 miles yet.
You couldn't put 6 on the first one?
Yeah, put 6 on the first one, but,
That's gonna,
as soon as they get off the highway, they're gonna go, where is this place? So you really would be better off if you bought that. So I think she has a point, and so does Gary, that's a long distance.
However, I think that you could also consider the other side of that same logic and say, if people are getting off or even if they're getting off to go someplace else, and they see that there's, the Welcome Center 6 miles this way, maybe they will turn and come towards St. Genevieve, knowing that there is, a Welcome Center that you could find information about all the things that there are to see and do in the area. Like, especially if they're out at the wineries and they've never been downtown, and they know, if they're getting off to go to the wineries, and they can go right to the wineries, or they could go left and, see the other attractions in St. Genevieve.
Refresh my memory about how much this is going to cost.
10,000.
Do we have brochures at the Dairy Queen?
Yes.
Yes, he's right.
And at the
Receptive.
southbound fuel on the other side.
Okay.
On the West Plains Welcome Center, it's 34 miles from where it turns off, like if you were coming from here, from like 19 onto Highway 60, where it becomes 1960 there, 34 miles to 63 south. And then it's another 15 miles to the Welcome Center, but it's right on 63.
It's on 60.
Well, that kind of makes 6 miles not sound so far, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's 15 miles from the intersection where 60 and 63 split.
And you've already gone how many miles to get there?
You've gone 34 miles to get
But
to,
Holy
63
crap.
is.
So you're talking 49 miles.
It's a major north and south thoroughway.
right.
I mean,
And and by,
So you could just measure from there.
and by the satellite, it shows that it's right on.
So, I mean,
63.
Right on 63.
63 is a major route. I mean,
Yeah.
because I grew up over in that area, and that was a major route to go from Rolla down to anywhere south.
Well, let me ask you this question. If you just spent the $10,400, what about the county coughing up some money? I mean, if the county's taking money in from tourism, and they definitely are out of the wineries, and from their lodgings, and from their restaurants out there, I mean, yeah, they're giving, a couple $1,000.
15.
How much now?
5,000 from general and 10,000 in economic development grant.
Yeah, the county gives us 5,000.
5,000.
And, yeah.
Plus
and
the 10,000
we-
from the economic.
Well, I like it, it's only $1,000, $1,040 a year, if you go from the 10 year, once we put
Oh.
it.
Right.
If you think of it that way, yeah, because it is good for 10 years. But I see what you're saying, that maybe there
I'm
would
saying
be
that there's other
sources.
entities here that, I'm not talking about the wineries themselves coughing up money, which wouldn't be a bad idea, but the county gets revenue from tourism, from sales. Now, there's no tourism tax, but they get them from sales. And why do we always have to foot the bill?
Well,
Well, I think this is particular to the Welcome Center.
But we also talked about in the previous meeting of possibly approaching.
Other
county
entities, yeah.
with the Economic Development Fund, because
Right.
tourism is economic development. Possibly the Community Foundation would be another source. We may bundle this stuff together to make it a way to do it. I don't think the other group, the Tourism Advisory Council, was saying having the Tourism Tax Commission pay for everything at this point in time. And we made an assignment to study it and come back and make some recommendations.
And the other thing we learned is, we're not on a deadline here. We can do this whenever we want. So, Jim, what do you think?
Well, I'm like Gary, the 6 miles off the highway, you know, especially when you get off, you're looking for a hotel, and you see there's an exit for a hotel, and then you see, well, now it's 6 miles to get there. But with St. Genevieve being a historical town, and the billboards that we have, you know, coming north on 55, I don't know, maybe it's just another plus to direct people into St. Genevieve.
I think we've got a brown historical St. Genevieve sign out there.
We do.
Yeah, which was important.
It's another
I
way
wonder
of,
if we could get, that's MoDOT puts those up too. Is there a way we could put Welcome Center underneath?
I
it?
asked,
Okay.
no.
you can't do that?
No.
Okay. Be nice to even have a little bit more with that, you know, some type of,
Well, I mean, there's other signs for Felix Valley out there that are brown.
and I'm thinking of New Harmony in Indiana. I mean, you see the signs, and you've got a ways to go to, once you get off, to get into New Harmony. So, I mean, it's a historical town, and St. John's a historical town. So, I mean, 6 miles is a lot in some cases, but maybe not in this case.
I'm not really against it, but I'm just saying, as a traveler,
Yeah.
when I see the sign Welcome Center, I'm thinking of a bathroom with
Right.
brochures, kind of like what we have.
Right.
I think that's,
But I think more
well,
like when I come into a state, you know, I mean, I'm narrow-minded, I understand that.
No.
But like in Eureka, I'm not going to pull off the in Eureka to get to the Welcome Center, because there's no really clear definition of where it's at, you know, I mean, it's just like, I was wrong about how you get off to, I apologize, Eureka's is not that far off, because you get that exit pass 109, I was thinking about it, because I used to 109.
Yeah, but then again, if you're looking to stop, use the bathroom, you probably aren't looking really to go into St. Genevieve. If you're going to use the bathroom, you'll probably
Not-
stop.
I think
Not when you
rest
pass by
stops-
DQ, which you can go into real
Well, I'm
quick.
thinking about picking up maps, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I understand.
Informational stuff.
Informational stuff.
Yeah.
and those kinds of welcome centers at the state lines,
Mhm.
those typically are your bathroom stop and your brochure stop.
Mhm.
So this is more to drive traffic to come into
Into
the
town.
downtown area.
What if we just did one of our historic downtown signs out there at 32, put Welcome Center 5 miles?
You mean those white ones that's,
No, the black ones that we put up.
Oh,
oh,
the wayfinding signs?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you're right, that this thing about being so far off of the
Mhm.
interstate.
We have to have some kind of designation that says it is 6 miles, because
Oh, yeah.
you don't want to be misleading.
When we're traveling, usually if we're not stopping on the way, but if you get off and it's over 2 miles to go to the gas station, I get right back.
Oh, I know, I do too, same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And that's-
I did say at the previous meeting, though, that even though it's a chunk of change for the 10-4, if we just look at that amount, probably it would be worth it. probably we pull enough people off the highway to drive the 6 miles to come to the visitor center. And what I also said was, even if we are fortunate and blessed enough to get the national park signs on the highway with the arrowheads on them, that will pull a lot of people in. If we had to take these down, just for example, because we have the other signs now, it probably is still worth it to go with these signs. That's what I said before, and I still feel that way. Because something is better than nothing.
Directory.
I think it's,
How valuable is it to be in the directory?
I think it's very valuable. Just from the perception, you know, it's sort of like, if a tree falls in the forest and, you know, you don't see it, you're not aware of it. We might be here with our welcome center, but if we're not on the list, you know.
Do you have those books at the visitor center?
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
So everybody's got the books at a visitor center.
yeah.
They put out about 300,000 of those a year, I believe.
And, I mean, we take great pains to get all of our
We're in there,
attractions.
we're just not in there as a visitor center.
Right.
Right.
And I think the question is having a welcome center, visitor center sign, is that the draw that we want, or is there another way to spend that same kind of money on the interstate that will?
Will it have like the town listed on it? Because it just says welcome center, right? Or will it
St. Genevieve.
I think it's
Welcome
St.
Center.
Okay.
Is it a one-time fee?
It's a one-time fee for all the signage that you're gonna buy.
And then,
If you think about it as $1,000 a year. it's
Yeah.
like, Oh, yeah,
Yes,
it's worth it.
yeah, if you think of it that way, in that respect.
Yeah,
well, and as Kathy pointed out, 10 years from now, there might be another set of signs out there that says St. Genevieve National Park or whatever. it
Yeah,
is.
but even, it ain't gonna be this price next year, probably. It might not be this price in 6 months.
Well, is that $1,200 per sign, is that a good price? I don't know what a sign costs, is that a
I
good
think,
price?
you know, those little ones that they put like for restaurants and stuff that are on those boards, I think those are pretty expensive, maybe
Well,
2,500.
10 years ago, when I got one of those for Crown on the interstate, I think they were $2,000 at that time for those
That's
little
an
2-foot
annual
by
fee,
2-foot.
And that's the size sign that we're looking at to get, or is this gonna be a?
No, that, yeah, I mean, that's,
These will be.
yeah.
These are bigger, but then, you know how you get off the highway, you
Right.
have the ones that point left and right and stuff, I assume that's the,
Yeah, those are for attractions. But, I mean, actually, as an affiliate welcome center, you get a lot bigger sign and you're the only thing on the sign versus those attractions, they pay that amount yearly, and there might be 8 attractions on a sign, which is good, because then you see, wow, this place has 8 attractions. I mean, it's good for us if there are more attractions on the signs out on the interstate, too.
Sure.
But, you know, it's just one more direction, one more arrow pointing in this direction.
I like the idea of it. I like the idea even better of sharing the expense with other people, because I don't think it's something that we could pick up the whole total package.
Well, let's take a vote on if we like the idea or if we want to not like the idea. So all those in favor, and we'll just raise your hands because we're not spending any money here, that you kind of like the idea.
I kind of like it.
Okay, we've got 5. I'll say I like the idea of it. Now,
As long as we don't have to pay for it.
Right.
let's put it this way. Let's turn it, let's make a motion here, somebody make a motion to put this back in the laps of the Tourism Advisory Board, because they're looking into all of this, and that we would be willing to be a partner in some way of financing it. Not amount we would put in, but we would be willing to be a partner in some way to financing this. And here's my thoughts on that. I still think that you would need a second sign somewhere, so that's roughly going to come to $11,600. And if you divide that by the 120 months in 10 years, that's $97 a month. So less than $100 a month. Now, could you, and if you didn't put the extra one, it's still $87 a month. 86.66 or something like that. But here's the thing. Could you easily, if you were selling this to someone, could you easily sell it to someone and say to them, in all of the businesses in this community, including the county, because, you know, people are still gonna get off the highway, pick up something, and still go to the county somewhere, would you be able to get $100 out of that a month? As businesses, what? If you got, let's say, just 4 cars, and they only ate 1 meal, and how many people are in the car? There's got to be 2, so that's 8 meals. You're almost going to come up with $10 a meal, the cost. That's just if they just didn't go to any of the shops and they only came into town and they ate something.
But it is a form of advertising.
Sure.
It is a form of advertising, and exactly, we have to look at it that way. It's a business that we're running here of tourism, and you have to look at it as a business. Could we sell this to the county? Get them to put some bucks in there? Economic development, to put there's some bucks in there? Some of the grant money that's out there, maybe even sell it to AT&T? I don't know. So
people can come into town and not have service. There you go.
yeah.
This is another carrier.
Come to St. Genevieve, you won't get any
Another
service.
carrier.
You know, but does somebody want to make a motion that we table this and put,
Or refer it, maybe?
refer this to the Tourism Advisory Committee and their people?
I make a
can I-
motion that we will support this sign. You know, and, you know, since the other tourism, that we will support it. You know, it's financially, but we can't afford to pay for the whole thing.
So
Did you
asking
get
the
all
other group
that?
to make
Well-
a recommendation.
He's getting this as a
I'm
motion.
trying to, okay, so,
My motion is this, that we will support this, the Missouri affiliate
Welcome center.
Welcome Center sign
proposal,
proposal. Yeah, good word.
and that,
But that we cannot, we cannot financially afford to pay for it all, you know, that we will chip in.
with assistance from
Correct.
others,
Entities,
other entities.
because we don't know who they are yet. You want to say that we'd like to turn this back to the Tourism Advisory?
Oh, yeah.
And turn it back to the Tourism Advisory to come with a proposal put back to us?
Actually, it goes back to Mike, because he's on the research.
I'll go back to Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let me
She's going to read it back to
real
you.
quick. Okay, so the Tourism Tax Commission will support the Missouri affiliate Welcome Center sign proposal or with assistance from other entities, and to turn this project back over to the Tourism Advisory Council for proposals. Does that work?
To come back to us, because we're going to be just like the rest of them. They're going to have to make a proposal, and we can help them with that. Okay? Does everybody agree with that? Okay, have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Bob. Now, they're going to come back and say, well, you've got 2 signs coming north, and you've got, the microtel has 2 signs, one north, one south. The wineries have signs. We have all these other signs. Yes, we understand that. But they're related, but just disjointed. They're different.
Now, as we're looking at 1,000, for 10 years, we have a commitment of basically paid up front, from my understanding, but it's $1,040 a year.
400. Oh, $1,040 a year?
Yeah, because it's 400, you're right.
Well, it's 10,400 divided by 120 months.
$1,040 a year, okay, basically,
Yeah,
compared to what our billboards are costing us a year.
right.
You know, we're looking at, in 10 years, we're looking at, when we just paid for it, we're looking at 30-some-odd thousand if we keep it for 50.
Yes.
That's a good way to look
It
at
breaks
it, because
down.
in effect, it's a different kind of a billboard.
Yeah.
$87 a month.
Yeah, it's $87 a month for that. And if you went with the second $1,200, about 3 miles from downtown to, to the thing where they said, oh, it's only another 3 miles. How far have we gone? I don't know that we would need it, but you could always ask for it later on. They would put one up if you felt you needed it, because if people began to complain.
When people drive by and they see that our sports complex or library, whatever it is, they might think that's the visitor center.
Right. And that's the one reason why I thought somewhere along in there where your sign says, you're entering St. Genevieve, it's still 3 more miles, because we don't want them pulling in there and then being upset. Because that would be the first thing they would think of, that this is it. So still, it would only cost you $97 a month.
Yeah.
And even at that, you're still only talking $1,050 a year,
Yeah.
as opposed to what we're spending now, over $10,000.
Because I've had guests refer to that as was that the visitor center we came by?
Me too.
I said, no.
No, it's downtown.
But we have brochures there.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, wait, let's call by roll call, because we're talking, we could be spending money here.
Well, it's not a dollar.
No, we're not doing
Not
dollars.
doing a dollar.
Well, we're obligating ourselves, if they come up with it, we're obligating to spend some money.
Only if the price is right.
That's right, only if the price is right, never mind. All those in favor signify by saying
Aye.
opposed? Okay. I wish you luck, kid.
I think if you break it down like we just did, I think it's almost a no-brainer.
Considering the fact that right now, we're paying for the billboards, which is about $10,000 a year.
So, I mean, I think if the other entities decide to go in, we'll be willing to be a partner in the project, but
That's right.
we just don't have the money to fund it ourselves.
One of the beauties of this is that, having learned lessons from the wayfaring project, getting permission from the state, MoDOT, can take months at times. But this is an established program that makes it very easy.
And they're trying to sell it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we do know how to do, the wayfaring signs now on the Missouri, like Highway 32 right-of-way, which you still have to go to MoDOT to do. And we have some precedents with them that if we wanted to put some intermediate signs in, coming out of 32. And, we never considered that because it was a city project, but it was funded by the Community Foundation. But we can accomplish that with MoDOT.
I work for the state to see if they have an employee discount.
There you go. Well, at that amount of money a sign, and they're just making them in the sign shop and they're plain, and they don't have fancy 4 colors on them, I'd like to see how much MoDOT is raking in off of selling signs at
Ask
$4,000 a
Ask
piece,
them the DNR sometime.
you know?
I thought the same thing. I was like,
Think how many signs there are. If this one's 4, there might be some that are more expensive.
and the only way to become one is to go through to tourism, and tourism refers you to MoDOT, and they have this hefty,
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just go to MoDOT. You got to go through tourism.
Yeah, you have to be approved, yeah.
Be approved by them before. Any further business come before the commission? Not appearing, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Channel 7 and 98 TV and web broadcasting are made possible through contributions and donations from viewers like you. Thank you for your support.